Baseball has been played in the United States since the mid-1800s, but the modern version as we know it began near the turn of the century in 1893, when the pitching distance of 60 feet 6 inches became official. Until then, the field remained mostly the same except for the pitching distance and rules, which went through multiple changes over the course of 40 or so years. Beginning in 1856, the first governing body of professional teams, the National Association of Baseball Players, was formed, establishing the first set of field dimensions for play. The bases were set at 90 feet, with home plate as a 12-inch disc centered at the intersection of the first and third base lines. The pitching distance was measured at 45 feet from home plate, and a 9-inch disc was set to mark the pitcher's point. Additionally, two 6-foot lines, 12 feet wide, were drawn to mark the pitcher's area. At this time, all pitching was done underhand, with no balls or strikes being called. The pitcher could roam anywhere behind this line as to deliver the ball. The purpose of the pitcher was to give the opponents a good pitch to hit, rather than to get them out. However, in 1858, strikes were allowed to be called by the umpire after a warning to the batter if he did not swing at a pitch he considered hittable. Balls were introduced in 1863 with varying amounts required for a walk and strikes for strikeouts, eventually settling on 3 balls and a warning for a walk and 3 strikes for a strikeout. In 1863, another plate and line was drawn 3 feet behind the front line, constraining how far back the pitcher could run up and deliver the ball. This was immediately unpopular due to only having a 3-foot area to step. In 1866, this line was moved back a foot, now with a 4-foot gap between the lines. In 1867, the front and back lines were narrowed to 3 feet on each side, or 6 feet total. In 1868, home plate was changed to a 12-inch square, and the pitcher's points were changed to 6-inch squares. And in 1869, the lines were again spaced out to 6 feet, with the front line still at 45 feet. In 1871, the plate was then turned 45 degrees, which now gave the pitcher a 17-inch wide target to hit. In 1872, 2 additional squares were added to mark the outside of the pitcher's line, and in 1874, the center squares were removed, the back corners were added, and edges were added to the side of the area, creating a 6x6 pitcher's box, with the front still measured 45 feet from the center of home plate. In 1875, home plate was moved entirely into foul territory, with the measuring point being the center of the plate, following in 1876, with the advent of the National League of Professional Baseball Players. In 1877, home plate was again moved, but entirely into fair territory. In 1879, the pitcher's box was narrowed down to 6 foot by 4 foot, and rules stated the pitcher must face the batter and deliver the ball below his waist. In 1881, a new pitching distance was established at 50 feet. In 1883, new rules stated that the ball must be delivered below the shoulder, and in 1884, the National League lifted all restrictions on pitching delivery, with the previously formed American League following suit in 1885. In 1886, the box was extended again to 7 feet, and then shortened again to 5.5 feet in 1887. New rules also stipulated that the pitcher keep a foot on the back line and face the batter, only taking 1 step to deliver the ball. In 1890, an independent league called the Players' League played with a 6 foot by 4 foot box, but had wooden pegs to mark the corners instead of iron plates. The National League and American League followed by marking the corners with rubber discs while keeping the box at 5.5 feet by 4 feet. In 1891, the National League absorbed 4 American League teams, and in 1893, the modern distance of 60 feet 6 inches measured from the intersection of the first and third base lines was established, removing the pitcher's box in favor of a 12-inch by 4-inch piece of whitened rubber. The plate also got its familiar shape. In 1895, the pitcher's rubber was increased in size to 24 inches by 6 inches, which is now the modern standard. At this point, teams will start to use a mound for the pitcher to help with velocity. While previously to this point, everything was done on flat ground. By 1904, the standard of 15-inch height was set for the mound. In 1969, that height was lowered to 10 inches. Altogether, the standard of 60 feet 6 inches has stood for over 120 years, with many changes in its early days. Making adjustments is necessary, as with many things in life.